days ago, following a severe shoulder injury to Brian Sipe, quarterback Ed Luther has had barely enough time to get to know his new Jacksonville teammates. But tonight, the former backup to Dan Fouts in San Diego for 5 seasons will be making his second USFL start. Just 4 days ago in Oakland, Luther was impressive in his debut, throwing for 282 yards and 3 TDs, but he was intercepted 3 times in the final quarter, and the Bulls had lost their 3rd straight. Earning his first start of the season, the Orlando Renegades looked to Reggie Collier to lead them to their very first win. A great at Southern Mississippi, the big, strong, and fast Collier was the 3rd player selected in the very first USFL draft. But Reggie's happy feet in Birmingham, a lack of patience in the pocket, cost him the starting job. Saturday night, Collier relieved Jerry Goldstein in the 4th quarter. He completed 5 of 6 passes. His play, along with the remarkable 71-yard punt return by Victor Jackson in the closing seconds, almost brought victory. But time ran out in Portland. So Orlando is here tonight in Jacksonville's Gator Bowl, hoping to crack into the win column for the very first time. It rained earlier in the day here in Jacksonville, but now it's cloudy and cool as the Orlando Renegades and the Jacksonville Bulls prepare to do battle. Hi, everybody. Fred Manfro along with Mike Adamley for this all-Florida USFL get-together. Mike, it's only the 5th week of the USFL season, but already for each team, this is a must-win.
Well, Fred, with a combined record of 1-7, something has to give tonight. The Jacksonville Bulls really haven't been the same after they upset the defending USFL champion Baltimore Stars on opening day, and certainly Coach Lindy Infante would like for them to get back on the right track. For Orlando at 0-4, well, they've got to win to restore some of the lost respectability into their football program.
For Jacksonville, Ed Luther making his 2nd start. Reggie Collier making his 1st start for the Orlando Renegades.
Well, when you talk about Luther and Collier, you talk about potential and consistency. Ed never really had a chance to realize his potential out in San Diego with his apprenticeship to Dan Fouts. As far as Reggie Collier is concerned, he's got the potential to be a star, but lacks the consistency. He is now back in the good graces of head coach Lee Corso, and he's ready to do something for Orlando tonight.
Last season, Mike Rozier had a rough rookie year in the USFL in Pittsburgh. He's here in Jacksonville. He seems to have found a home.
Well, he's the only Heisman Trophy winner now in the Bull backfield. Archie Griffin, who won it in 73 and 74, or 74 and 75, retired earlier this week, and now Rozier will carry the Bulls ground game.
So upcoming very shortly, it'll be the Orlando Renegades and the Jacksonville Bulls. Now the Renegades and the Jacksonville Bulls here at the Gator Bowl in Jacksonville, Florida. The teams exchanging the solidarity handshake at center field. The weather today in Jacksonville, a mixed bag. Right now, as you see, it's partly cloudy. Nice temperature for the game. Very little breeze, but earlier in the day, we had rain and 60-mile-an-hour winds. Lee Corso, the coach of the Orlando Renegades, still looking for his first professional victory, and he hopes he gets it tonight with Reggie Collier at quarterback. Lindy Infante, of course, came here from the Cincinnati Bengals, where he was the offensive coordinator. He has a new quarterback in Ed Luther, and the team looks like it's ready to roll. They've lost 3 straight, however. So we're ready for the kickoff of the Gator Bowl. The crowd held down a bit tonight by the inclement weather earlier today. They had been talking maybe 35 to 40,000. Jeff Brockhouse there, the kicker for the Orlando Renegades, on thin ice in Orlando. Has had a couple of bad weeks on the field goal department, and the Renegades have been bringing in kickers to try to take his job, but he has the duty of kicking off tonight. And the Jacksonville Bulls have 2 pretty dangerous men back deep in Reggie Butts and Perry Kemp. Ball taken to the 10, 15, to the 22-yard line. Perry Kemp tackled by Ed Jackson, but Kemp came back, and here comes a man who's making his USFL 2nd appearance. Of course, you remember the name Ed Luther in San Diego as the backup for Dan Fouts, and he had a very impressive debut Sunday for the Jacksonville Bulls. Of course, in the backfield, will have the former Heisman Trophy winner Mike Rozier slot to the left side on this 1st and 10 from the 23 of Jacksonville. The Heisman winner gets it. He's on the run. Rozier powers his way up to the 36-yard line. Left quarterback Jeff George making the stop for the Orlando Renegades. Offensively for the Jacksonville Bulls, the man you see there, Rozier in the backfield, along with Larry Mason. The quarterback, of course, Ed Luther. The wide receivers, Alton Alexis, along with Aubrey Matthews. Mark Keel, the tight end. The left tackle is Bob Gruber. The left guard, Kenny Howell. The center is Jay Pennison. The right guard, J.T. Turner. And the right tackle is Roy Simmons. 1st and 10 for Jacksonville from their own 37-yard line. Lewis with the ball, trying to get outside. He brings it up to about the 40-yard line. Hit out at the 40-yard line by the pursuit. Fred McAllister making the hit for the Orlando Renegades, and they have a very active linebacking core.
Give credit here, however, to number 24, Marvin Lewis. Actually, the third-string running back he's the guy who bounced it outside before the Renegades could make the stop on him.
Gain of 3, 2nd and 7 for Jacksonville from their own 40-yard line. Rozier again. Rozier over the 45 to about the 46-yard line. Kevin Kellen, the left defensive end for the Orlando Renegades from the University of Minnesota, making the stop for the Renegades. The Renegades on defense will have Joe Ehrman, along with Ken Times and Charles Riggin, and Kevin Kellen along that front line. At linebackers, Freeman, McAllister, and Jackson. Their corners, George and Gray. Free safety is Victor Jackson. The strong safety, Lupe Sanchez. 3rd and 1, short yardage, the I. Rozier diving, should have the first down, but a flag is thrown as Rozier hurdled Ron Freeman and Lupe Sanchez, the linebacker and the strong safety, tackling Rozier.
On the defense, first down. Well, it's bad enough when you're 0-4, Fred, but the kind of things that drives a coach crazy, ridiculous mistakes like that. There should have been 12 men on the field, and I guess that's the kind of things that happen to expansion ball clubs.
So the first down for the Jacksonville Bulls, and Rozier being worked on along the sidelines. Seems to be in a bit of pain.
It's an understatement to say that they can't afford to lose him. One of the reasons being they only have 3 running backs on the depth chart tonight that are active.
Archie Griffin, of course, calling it quits a couple of days ago. The former Heisman Trophy winner now back in Columbus, Ohio, working for Ohio State University. Lewis puts his head down and charges to the 44, maybe the 43-yard line of the Orlando Renegades. Of course, Ed Luther played his college football at San Jose State, a 4th-round pick of the San Diego Chargers, and a very good backup to Fouts there, Mike.
He had some bright moments. I saw him last year, Monday night, out in San Diego against the Chicago Bears, and he engineered a great victory against the playoff-bound Bears. He's got the tools.
On the 2nd down, the I. The ball at the 43 of Orlando. Mason down to the 41-yard line. Mason, last year's leading ground gainer for the Jacksonville Bulls, was relegated to the backup of Archie Griffin, but since Griffin's gone, Mason moves in. We'll see a lot more action.
One of the things that Coach Lindy Infante told me tonight, Fred, is that Jacksonville would throw the ball a lot. For obvious reasons, they have not. Orlando, the very worst at stopping the run, 14th and last in the USFL, and I think they will continue to grind it out on the ground until the Renegades come up with a way to stop them.
11:09 to go in the first quarter. No score in the football game. Jacksonville with its first possession following the opening kickoff. It's 3rd and 3 now. Mason has the first down. Still going. Mason down to the 32-yard line of the Orlando Renegades. Was pulled down by Lupe Sanchez and Albert Gray. Sanchez moving from the left corner slot to take over its strong safety for Mike Guess, who's been put on the bench for a while for the Orlando Renegades.
You mentioned about Archie Griffin retiring. Larry Mason had mixed emotions. He was a very good friend of Archie. Archie contributed a lot in the clubhouse, but Mason wanted a chance to start. He's getting it tonight, and he's responded well.
First and 10 for Jacksonville from the Orlando 33. Luther to throw for the first time. Over the middle. Pass complete. Mark Keel, who was questionable, made the reception. Keel down the sideline, sliding down to the 5-yard line. Lupe Sanchez hit him. First down and goal to go for the Jacksonville Bulls.
Before this season is over, Mark Keel, number 82, the tight end for the Bulls, may develop into an all-league performer. Infante really likes him. He's got the size, 6'4", 240 pounds. He's got the speed, too. Breaks a couple of tackles there with the assistance of a great block. He doesn't slip. He might run over Lupe Sanchez.
Well, the 22-yard pass and catch and run brings it to the 8-yard line. First and goal to go for Jacksonville. Rozier back in. Rozier fighting, crawling his way to the 5-yard line. Mike Rozier, of course, a great at Nebraska. At Jackson making the stop of Mike Rozier. As you can see there, Rozier, a very important part of the offensive setup for the Jacksonville Bulls. Last season at Pittsburgh, playing for the Maulers, the now defunct Maulers, a very disappointing year for Rozier. Bothered by an ankle all season, really could not get on track. Second and goal. Luther to Rozier. Rozier sealing to the end zone. Touchdown, Jacksonville. Mike Rozier with his first touchdown reception of the season.
Once you hit the tight end, you get everybody conscious about Mark Keel. Nobody is covering Mike Rozier, number 20. Sanchez got sucked inside the strong safety. That was his responsibility. Easy score for the Bulls, a 77-yard drive that results in that touchdown.
Brian Franco will attempt the PAT out of the hold of Larry Swider following the 77-yard touchdown drive. Franco now 10 for 10 on PATs this season. And we have 9:25 to go in the first quarter.
Mike Rozier out of the I formation. It's pass all the way. I believe that he was the primary receiver. Again, if you can watch, Sanchez gets caught there, number 21, in traffic, allowing Rozier to score.
Just moments ago, quarterback Ed Luther to Mike Rozier out of the backfield for a touchdown. So as we join tonight's action, that 12-yard pass from Luther to Rozier, the Jacksonville Bulls, with Brian Franco kicking the extra point, have a 7-0 lead. Orlando is running back to kickoff. Let's go live to the Gator Bowl for live action. Fred Manfra and Mike Adamler.
Thank you very much, Tom. We have 9:15 to play in the first quarter here at the Gator Bowl in Jacksonville, and the homestanding Bulls have jumped out on front 7-0 over the Orlando Renegades, taking the opening kickoff 77 yards, capping it off on a Luther to Rozier touchdown pass. Point after, thus the 7-0 lead. Now the Orlando Renegades have the football for the first time this evening, and they will be directed tonight by this young man, Reggie Collier. A penalty being assessed on the kickoff that just took place, and it will go in the favor of Collier and the Orlando Renegades to the 36-yard line of Orlando. That first drive by the Jacksonville Bulls was highlighted by a long pass from Luther to Mark Keel, setting up the toss from Luther to Rozier for the touchdown. Now the offense for the Orlando Renegades. We have Walters and Flowers, the wide receivers. We'll get back to that as Collier makes his first start as a Renegade. First and 10 from his own 36, ready to throw. Looks like he wants to go long. Now he's scrambling to the 40. Collier, who's big and fast, up to the 48-yard line, has a first down for Orlando.
You mentioned at the top of the show, Fred, that one of the things that had gotten Reggie Collier in disfavor with some of the coaches that he has had over the years, not at Southern Mississippi, is his liking to run out of the pocket and not stay with receivers. This time, a very smart move on Reggie's part. He's as fleet as they come, and it can put an awful lot of pressure on the defense.
Talk about speed. He runs the 40 in 4.27. That's the fastest on the Renegade team. First and 10 for Orlando from their own 49. Wrong count this time by Collier. And we have the whistle. Clock may have expired on the time. So we'll complete the offense for the Renegades. Wide receivers, Walters and Flowers. The left tackle, a newcomer.
Number 10, offense.
Okay, resetting the offense for you. Walters along with Flowers at the wide receivers. The tackles, Moransky and Patton, Dornbrook and Fulton the guards. Mark Fisher is the center. Quarterback is Reggie Collier. The running back, a workhorse, Curtis Bledsoe, along with William Miller. Henry Odom, who had been a starter for the Orlando Renegades, is injured tonight. First and 15 now for the Renegades from their own 44. Bledsoe with the ball, has a block, but he can't get outside. It's flashed down at the 45-yard line. Tackled by Curtis Anderson, the left defensive end for the Jacksonville Bulls. Defensively, we have Anderson at one end for Jacksonville, Millard at the other. The nose tackle is Bob Nelson. The linebacking core, Dinkle, Beeson, Johnson, and West. Corners, Jakes and Harper. The free safety is Bessalou, and the strong safety is G. 7-0. Jacksonville leading Orlando. Orlando with the football. Second and 14 from their own 45-yard line. 7:27 to play in the first quarter. Reggie Collier calling time. Wants to talk things over with Lee Corso. So here at the Gator Bowl, 7:20 to go in the first quarter. Jacksonville leads Orlando 7-0. In front of us, you can see the rules now as they sit. Mike, do you like the expansion?
I like the expansion of the rules because if it's used judiciously, it can, a game or even a season for that matter can hinge on it. And again, a coach, that is, can have one appeal per half, sets the timeout, and if he's correct, the timeout does not go against him.
First and 10 for Jacksonville from their own 24. Mike Rozier, the former Heisman Trophy winner, bouncing up to the 29-yard line. Charles Riggins, the 6'4", 255-pound second-year pro from Bethune-Cookman, made this stop. Riggins, a big guy, number 99, was in the National Football League with Green Bay and Washington. Last season in the USFL with the Tampa Bay Bandits, as so many of the Orlando Renegades were last season. With Bugsy Engelberg, who used to be director of player personnel there, now the head man for the Orlando Renegades. Right side, here comes Rozier, gets the block, but he's tripped up. Rozier crossing the 30, so about the 31-yard line as Ron Freeman, the 6'2", 230-pound linebacker, wrapped him from Pittsburgh State in Pennsylvania.
Mike Rozier has yet to run for 100 yards this year, but he must look at that the track record against Orlando. Gary Anderson from Tampa Bay has done it. Buford Jordan last week for the Portland Breakers. Herschel Walker did it as well. This may be his night.
3rd and 3. Jacksonville with the lead in the football from their own 31-yard line. Luther wanting to throw on the third, dumps it complete to Marvin Lewis, and Lewis will not get the first down. Defense well by left cornerback Jeff George, and that brings up the putting right leg of Larry Swider on the 4th down. Swider, a well-traveled veteran in the pro football wars, to put it mildly.
Somehow I knew you'd say that. We'll talk a little bit about that later.
There's Victor Jackson back. Jackson had that exciting 71-yard punt return in the closing seconds at Portland Saturday night for the Orlando Renegades. He's standing back at the 32-yard line. Very little breeze here this evening. Wobbly kick. Jackson at the 35. to the right side at the 40. Jackson to the 45-yard line. So Victor Jackson sets the football in good field position for the Orlando Renegades, but they trail here 7-0 to the Jacksonville Bulls. Now, number 12 is Jerry Goldstein, standing next to Steve Krasakowicz. Goldstein losing his number 1 quarterbacking job for the Orlando Renegades last week in Portland, and Reggie Collier, the great out of southern Mississippi, at the helm for Lee Corso's Renegades this evening. 1st and 10 for Orlando from their own 45-yard line. Their second possession of the evening. The first resulted in a punt. They trail 7-0. Handoff. Very little gain as the ball is brought to about the 47-yard line. William Miller from Wachita Baptist carried the ball. Last season, Miller was with the Pittsburgh Maulers, and on several of the games when Mike Rozier was out with the ankle injury.
Holding, 69, offense, first down.
Well, you heard the call against Joel Patton of the Orlando Renegades. To complete the story about Miller, he filled in very capably last season at Pittsburgh for the Heisman Trophy winner Mike Rozier, who is playing now for, of course, the Jacksonville Bulls. The ball brought back to the 36-yard line of the Orlando Renegades.
So far, Orlando doing all the kind of things that lose football games: a delay of game penalty, a holding penalty.
First and 20. Flags all over again as Bledsoe gets the handoff, has some room. Bledsoe up to the 46-yard line, tackled there by Vaughn Johnson, but flags were flying as soon as he got the handoff. We'll wait for the officials' call here. Again, the mistakes. And a coach, Lee Corso's hair,
encroachment, number 93, defense. Penalties decline. They'll take the result of the play. Second down.
Salt and pepper here, but he may be a candidate for Grecian formula after this game, right?
Keith Millard being assessed a penalty, the fine rookie from Washington State for the Jacksonville Bulls. So the ball is brought up to the 45-yard line as the penalty was declined. It's a second down and 10 now for the Renegades. Coming to the near side is Joey Walters, a fine receiver out of the Canadian Football League who's been silent in '85 for Orlando. 2 receivers wide right. Drills it. The pass is complete, but little or no gain as Jackie Flowers, the Jacksonville native, made the reception for Orlando, and Van Jakes was right on top of Jackie Flowers.
Van Jakes, number 22 out of Kent State University, my hometown. A little confidence builder there for Reggie Collier. A gain of about 5 yards, but at least it was a completion, and it gives him something to work on.
So it's 3rd and 5 from just the Orlando side of the 50-yard line. Shotgun. Bledsoe with a first down on his feet. Good reception and a good run by Curtis Bledsoe for the first down deep in Jacksonville territory. Run out of bounds by Don Besselou, but the ball is inside the 30-yard line of the Jacksonville Bulls.
Curtis Bledsoe has by far and away been the Renegades' best offensive performer this year. Give Collier some credit there for avoiding the rush, and watch what Curtis does here, breaking this one tackle. First he'll make 26 miss, and eventually Richard Wood, number 54, the reserve linebacker for the Bulls, misses as well. Bledsoe finally knocked out of bounds there by Don Besselou.
1:46 to play in the first quarter. Jacksonville leading 7-0, but it's 1st and 10 for Orlando from the Jacksonville 27. Number 64, Ed Fulton. You saw him rock back, and the flags went up in the air. Another mistake. What's that? Number 4 on the evening.
Number 4 on the evening. Second on this drive.
64, offense, first down.
Now, Fred, that may be in Fulton's defense there, a cadence problem. When you have a new quarterback, and this is Reggie Collier's first full start, you call signals a little bit differently. Each quarterback has their own style, their own cadence, and that might be the problem there.
Lee Corso looking at his play selection down there to see if he can pull the touchdown off the board. and 15 for the Renegades at the 32 of Jacksonville. Collier on the roll. He's going to keep it. Collier is banged hard by Doug West, who met him head-on. West, who is 6'3", 260, laid into the 6'3", 207 Collier. And a gain on the play for the Orlando Renegades.
Number 72 is Ed Moransky. They just picked him up this week. He's the left tackle for the Renegades. Does a nice job there on Keith Millard with some help from Ricky Klatt, who is also new to the Renegade roster this week.
2nd and 9 for the Gage, as they call them down in Orlando, from the 26 of Jacksonville. Collier looking to throw, has the arm, has the ball in the air, diving, making the reception at the 3-yard line, Joey Walters.
Fred, I wonder if we might get our first appeal here. Watch it again. Joey Walters last year was one of the leading receivers in the USFL with 98 catches. This year just 6. As he inbounds, he's got to have both feet.
Yep, he's beautiful.
Good call.
Of course, an all-pro up in Canada was Joey Walters, setting up the 1st and goal situation for Orlando at the 3-yard line.
I tell you, folks in Orlando who are watching this game here on ESPN tonight have to be happy the way Collier has seemed to light a spark underneath their offensive fires.
Just this afternoon when we talked to Lee Corso, he called Collier the franchise.
Quite a difference from 3 weeks ago when we talked to Corso.
Curtis Bledsoe fighting to the goal line to the 1. Bledsoe stopped by the Bulls and Vaughn Johnson in particular.
Curtis, too, was a star last year as a Washington Federal, over 1,000 yards, 7th in the league. Let's watch it again. Bledsoe will take that short little shoulder dip and dive up top. Good for 2.
Jacksonville leads this football game 7-0, but that lead with 20 seconds to go in the first quarter is precarious. 2nd and goal to go for Orlando from the Jacksonville 2. Bledsoe again trying to skip to the goal line. Fumbled the football, but recovered by the Orlando Renegades. Terry Beeson with the hit there. The ball jarred loose, and the first quarter has come to an end. Now they're still untangling down there. The Renegades initially gave the signal that they had the football, and now we have, as they unpeel down there, some...
Reggie Collier on top of it, or was he?
It looks like Reggie is plunked right on the football. Getting up rather slowly. Well, when you have that ball stuffed in your solar plexus with about 2,000 pounds of flesh on you, it hurts a little bit.
I'm sure there's an impression on Reggie's chest right now.
Well, that's it, the end of the first quarter. With the score, Jacksonville leading Orlando 7-0. So with the second quarter about to start, Orlando trailing in the ball game, but they're knocking on touchdown door, and it appeared for a minute that they would lose this opportunity at the goal line.
Almost doomed from the start. Reggie Collier had trouble with the snap, handed off to Curtis Bledsoe. Watch number 50, Terry Beeson, knock the ball out of Curtis's hands right there. It rolls over his back, and you're going to see Reggie Collier come back into the picture and get on top of that football to save Orlando's chance right there.
So it's a 3rd and 1 for Collier and the Orlando Renegades, who are winless this 1985 season in 4 tries. Bledsoe, wow, was he hit again? Beeson with the slam as Curtis Bledsoe tried to hurdle his body into the end zone, and Terry Beeson, the 6'3", 227, 7-year pro from Kansas, formed the wall to stop him.
Well, watch what they did to the lead back, Ricky Klatt there. He gets shoved back too. Terry Beeson, number 50, an ex-Seattle Seahawk there to stuff it. That's what you teach a linebacker play here. You got to get off the ball first, and if he leaps, you leap.
Ricky Klatt was a teammate of Curtis Bledsoe in Washington last season. It was his lead blocking back. Now we've got a 4th and 1 for Collier and Lee Corso's Renegades. They trail 7-0, and Reggie Collier and Lee Corso want to talk things over. They don't want to blow this opportunity.
3 weeks ago when you and I did the Orlando Generals game, he talked about short yardage situations, and he's got another one here, 4th down, and we'll be back. Jacksonville on top, 7-0.
The ball is resting at the Jacksonville 1-yard line. 4th and goal to go for the Orlando Renegades, who have been stymied down here inside the 5-yard line. Curtis Bledsoe primarily having a tough time penetrating the plane. And now we have Ricky Klatt and Bledsoe in the backfield. Klatt, a good blocking back. Bledsoe, the deep back in the eye. In motion. Collier rolling right. Collier going to go in. Touchdown. Reggie Collier with exuberance, trying to slam dunk the ball over the goalpost. You saw he came down a bit hard, but I think he could have floated down after that touchdown.
Here all the way, I might expect this as good a runner as Reggie Collier is. The play action fake, and you see Curtis diving into the air. Curtis Bledsoe, nobody's there to touch Reggie Collier for the touchdown run. 7-7 after this kick, hopefully by Fred Brockhouse, and we say hopefully as you watch Reggie fake the pass and breeze into the end zone.
As we mentioned, Brockhouse on thin ice, as Brockhouse has had some trouble with three-pointers, not too much with the PAT tries. He's now 6 of 6 on the year, and we have a tie football game at 7-7. So, with 13:50 to play in the half, Jacksonville 7, Orlando 7. Brockhouse to kick. We have Clark and Kemp deep for Jacksonville, but it's a short kick. Taken at the 25-yard line, at the 27-yard line, and stopped was Robert Young, normally a tight end, but playing on the special teams for the Jacksonville Bulls.
Pretty impressive scoring drive by the Renegades. 9 plays, 55 yards. They used up nearly 5 minutes on the clock, culminating with Reggie Collier's 1-yard touchdown run. You know, the Gades were outscored in first quarter 75-10. That was right to the moment of the second quarter. That's the first time, any time this year in the first half, that they had been even, Steven, other than the start of a ball game.
1st and 10 for Jacksonville. The ball at their own 27-yard line. Luther at quarterback, his second USFL start. And the veteran from the NFL throws over the middle, almost intercepted. Diving was Ed Jackson. Jackson had his mitts on the ball, but couldn't hang on.
Eddie Jackson saved a touchdown on this play. Little play action fake for Ed Luther. Watch number 32, Larry Mason, slip through the backfield. He's actually behind both of the Renegade linebackers, but Jackson there deflects the ball away from what could have been a big gainer. Another player obtained by Orlando from the Tampa Bay Bandits. Thank you, buddy. On the second down, from their own 27, Luther gives off to Rozier. Rozier darting and dodging, gets it up over the 30 to the 31. Fred McAllister played his college football at the University of Florida, making the stop for the Renegades. 7-7 the score. Rozier having caught a touchdown pass from Luther in the first quarter for the Jacksonville Bulls to give them the early lead. And then Reggie Collier tying it up on a 1-yard run here in the second quarter. We have 12:48 to play in the half. Gary Clark in motion to the near side. Rozier the lone setback. Luther taking too much time to get the play off. Mike, we're in the 5th game of the season, but this is a key ball game for both Jacksonville and Orlando.
Late game, number 11, offense, 3rd down.
When you can take the combined record of 1-7, the Gades have yet to win, and the Bulls haven't been the same after beating the Baltimore Stars, the defending USFL champs, in the opening game. It is a must-win. I think the Bulls are trying to entertain some thoughts of a playoff, but they got a murderous schedule from here on in. They got to beat Orlando tonight, and Orlando certainly just needs this one from a confidence standpoint, both for the organization and for the players as well.
Penalty moves the ball back to the 26-yard line for the 3rd down play. That's Matthews going wide to the right side. Again, the lone setback is Rozier behind Luther. Rozier over the middle. Overthrown, intended for Perry Kemp downfield. Mike Guest, the nickelback for the Orlando Renegades, was covering back there, but the ball was overthrown.
see Perry Kemp and Alton Alexis, number 89. Alexis working on number 22 there. Elbert Gray, one of the quarterbacks. And Mike Guess, who lost his starting position, comes in and fills the bill as a nickelback.
Swider to punt to this young man, Victor Jackson, who has plenty of speed and some good moves, standing at his own 39 for Orlando. The snap from Robert Young will be coming to Swider. At the 32, retreating to the 29, and he is pulled down. Excellent open field tackle by Norris Brown, a reserve tight end. 12:20 to go in the first half. Jacksonville and Orlando tied at 7. First and 10 for Orlando from their own 29-yard line. Collier had some movement in the line, and there's a flag. Maybe Ed Moransky may have moved just a bit too soon. Moransky just signed earlier this week by the Renegades.
Ball start, 72, offense, first down.
And that was Big Ed, who played his college football for Bo Schembechler at the University of Michigan. Played his pro ball for the Los Angeles Raiders. He was a
fourth-round choice.
Fourth-round pick for Al Davis and company out there, Tom Flores. Ball brought back 5 yards, first and 15. Now at the Orlando 24. Bledsoe and Miller split in the backfield. Miller to the near side. He gets the handoff, eludes a hand in the backfield, and then carries it up over the 26-yard line. Curtis Anderson in on the stop for Jacksonville. Mike, a pretty good crowd has turned out for tonight's football game here at Jacksonville. Of course, they led the league in attendance last season.
Jacksonville loves their Bulls down here, and of course this is a Florida rivalry.
They have a great rivalry with Tampa Bay. Now they're trying to heat this one up with Orlando. Second and 14. Shotgun on the second down for the Gades. Collier time. Going long with that rifle arm of his. It's intercepted by Don Bessalou. Bessalou spinning up over the 40. Bessalou down into Orlando territory at the 35-yard line. Bessalou, the veteran of 7 years, making the interception of Reggie Collier. For Collier, his second pickoff of the season.
And all that great free safety really has to be as a center fielder, just like in baseball. He's reading Reggie Collier's eyes all the way. And number 82, Wilfred Morgan, actually misread the trajectory of this ball, I think. It was well underthrown. Morgan was still going for the ball, and there's Bessalou to pick it off. I like to run, too.
Very nice run for Bessalou, who played his college ball at Georgia Tech. So Ed Luther will have the opportunity to move that Jacksonville offense once again. We have a tie football game. Mike Rozier doing some motoring this time. Rozier to the 31-yard line, stopped by Charles Riggins.
Now Reggie Lewis also, or Reggie Collier, that is, also experienced some pressure here. Moransky working against the Bulls' best pass rusher, takes a bit of Keith Millard's face mask as well. Millard right there, also number 65, the nose tackle, Bob Nelson, to apply the pressure.
After the gain of 6, it's second and 4. Ball resting at the Orlando 30. Rozier again with a handoff. Rozier with a first down. Quick feet for Rozier. Still charging forward to the 15-yard line. Charles Riggins there to pull down the Heisman Trophy winner, Mike Rozier, along with Ron Freeman.
Rozier out of the I formation. This is tailor-made for running back like Rozier. He just reads the block of number 68, J.T. Turner, number 57, Jay Pennis in the center, cuts it back for a big gain, and he lets his power do the work. Again, the handoff here, and Rozier takes that quick little move. Good job there on Val Brown, number 78 for Orlando. Jacksonville in business.
At the 15 of Orlando, first and 10. I don't know whether that was a fake or whether it was just a miscue there between Luther and Rozier as Brown gets the quarterback Luther down.
Again, you have to remember that Ed Luther really hasn't been in the Jacksonville camp too long, just about 10 days. Just looked like he missed the handoff there. Rozier took his course a little wider than Ed had anticipated, and thus the miscue.
And a loss on the play of about 5. Al Brown, college football at Florida. Al Luther with a 2nd and 15. Again to Rozier, a hole for Mike. Rozier charging forward inside the 5 to the 4. Lupe Sanchez making the saving stop for Orlando.
This is the first opportunity I've had a chance to see Rozier this season in 1985. He looks like the old Heisman Trophy winner as a Cornhusker at Nebraska. Talk about holes. J.T. Turner, again, number 68, doing a great job. There's Pennison, number 57, sticking somebody else up. And finally, Lupe Sanchez has got to handle him in the secondary.
Rozier tonight, 71 yards on 9 carries. He had that in the entire game last week. Goal to go for Jacksonville. Rozier trying to get the 6 to the end line. Did he get in? Rozier wanted that 6 points, and it looked like he got to the goal line, but may have been stopped just short. Albert Gray from the corner making the hit along with the rest of his Orlando defensive teammates. They kind of unwind down there. Where are they going to mark that? Just the Jacksonville side of the chalk, I would imagine. Still having a discussion. And they marked it about a half a yard from the goal line.
Well, they're certainly making Linde Infante's job easy when you have a play that works. It's the old P10, P11 out of the I formation. Just right up the gut. Watch the centers block. Watch the 2 guards block. And as long as it goes that well, no reason to change anything in the game plan.
So it's 2nd and goal from inside the 1. Rozier leaping. He's got the touchdown this time. 13-7. Jacksonville on the springy feet of Mike Rozier, taking the lead with 7:45 to play in the first half.
Mike Rozier's 2nd touchdown of this 1985 season, and a la Walter Payton, he leaps and manages to cross the plane of the goal line, which incidentally is one of those new instant replay applications. They can use it to check that as well.
Ryan Franco is having an excellent season kicking for the Jacksonville Bulls. Will be on to add the extra point. Kicking out of the hole of Larry Swider, the punter, splits the uprights, and we have a 14-7 lead for Jacksonville. So 7:45 remains to go in this first half. Jacksonville leading Orlando by a 14-7 count. And Mike Rozier has accounted for both Jacksonville touchdowns tonight. Well, we have a happy birthday wish tonight, Mike Adamley.
Yes, Lee Corso's father, Alexandro Corso, is 83 years old tonight, spending it in Miami, Florida, and he's watching this game, and Lee wanted us to say happy birthday to his dad.
And especially many, many more, Mr. Corso. Ryan Franco to kick off. Back deep is Jerry Parrish. Parrish will take the ball at the 2. Parrish bang as he hit the 25-yard line.
Last scoring drive by the Bulls, 6 plays, 36 yards, courtesy of Don Veslu's great interception off of Reggie Collier. That's what set it all up, and Mike Rozier did the rest. I think he got to every single carry on that. 2 touchdowns tonight, 3 for the season. Rozier looking like the Heisman Trophy winner of yore.
Of course, Mike last year said the thing that bothered him in Pittsburgh was the sore ankle that really never healed all season. Looks like it's healed this evening and this season for the Jacksonville Bulls. 1st and 10 for Orlando. They're on 25. Fake the Bledsoe. Collier looking downfield. He tucks it to the 30. Collier sliding down to the 32, maybe the 33-yard line for the big quarterback, Reggie Collier.
Reggie Collier, again, one of the knocks against him is that he runs too much. Sometimes I think he runs. I don't like that knock against Reggie Collier. I think that he can really, really hurt a defense with his ability to scramble. Corso said tonight also that he would put some of the sprint outs into the offense tonight to make it a little more difficult for Jacksonville to defend against.
That was the time remaining in this first half. 14-7, Jacksonville leading the Renegades of Orlando. 2nd and 3 from the Orlando 32. Bledsoe puts the head down, drives it up. Depends on where they mark it, whether he has the first down or not. Should be at least the 35. And they do mark it forward to the 37-yard line.
Curtis Bledsoe, one of the unsung backfield stars in the United States Football League, over 1,000 last year as a Washington Federal. Nice job of cutting back. Then he does it all on his own. He spins out of Terry Beeson's grasp, number 50, to pick up the first down.
Now, we mentioned birthdays. Curtis Bledsoe had a birthday last week, his 28th. First and 10 for Orlando at the 37, their own. Again, Bledsoe, and he is gathered in around the ankles by, again, Terry Beeson, along with Bob Nelson.
Nose tackles don't get much publicity in this game. They're usually double or triple teamed. If you're a good one, Nelson's a good one, but that time he was able to sneak underneath some of the offensive linemen and trip Bledsoe in his own backfield. Acquired by Jacksonville in the allocation draft from the now defunct Oklahoma Outlaws. Of course, the Outlaws and the Arizona Wranglers merged in Tempe, Arizona, under the guidance of Frank Cush, their head coach. 1-yard gain. Collier facing a 2nd and 9. Reggie fires the ball complete to Don Eccles, the tight end. Eccles up near the first down territory as Terry Beeson and Chester G make the hit for Jacksonville. See how the trenches, how tough it is to be a nose tackle. This time he's working against number 57, the center, Mark Fisher. They got a stunt on him and Keith Millard. He keeps on coming. Scramble hard. He's not going to quit. And that's what they teach offensive or defensive nose tackle. And the pass by Collier was complete to Eccles for the first down at the 48-yard line of the Renegades. They trail by 7, 14-7 with 4:26 to play in the first half here at the Gator Bowl. William Miller and Curtis Bledsoe in the backfield. Fake handoff to Bledsoe. Bootleg by Collier, and Reggie should have another first down. Collier with the happy feet tonight. I tell you, I love those happy feet. So does Lee Corso. Picked up another first down for the Renegades. They're back in Jacksonville territory once again. 5 carries tonight, 38 yards for Reggie Collier. Whatever happens here in the first half, Lee Corso has to feel a bit pleased, considering that in the first half of their game so far this campaign, they've been out of it. 75-10, they have been outscored in the first half, and here they're within 7. First and 10 for Collier and the Gades from the 41 of Jacksonville. Bledsoe with the handoff inside the 40 to the 38-yard line. Terry Beeson there. We've called his name often tonight. And now they've got the Bulls off balance. They run Bledsoe. They hit Don Eccles, the tight end. Run a little bootleg with Reggie Collier. Makes it a little tougher to defend against. Reggie Collier accounting for the only touchdown tonight for Orlando. Mike Rozier running and catching one for the Jacksonville Bulls, who lead 14-7. Ball at the 38-yard line. Roll right for Collier. Hits the intended receiver, Jackie Flowers, with a strike. Jackie Flowers, having played in the USFL with Arizona, and Pittsburgh picking up the first down at the 25-yard line of Jacksonville. Reggie Collier throws as well as anybody on the run, and Jackie Flowers, who played here at William Raines High School in Jacksonville, makes the reception. So the ball marked at the 25-yard line of Jacksonville. Jackie Flowers had only 3 catches coming into tonight's ball game. Reggie Collier in his first start for the Renegades. Quarterback draw this time. And Collier spins out of the hit applied by Terry Beeson and gets down inside the 20-yard line, finally fallen on by Van Jakes, the left cornerback, at the 18. Certainly cannot blame Lee Corso for calling this play. This is a planned play, a quarterback draw. He sets up like he's going to pass. This is the element that Orlando has not had with Jerry Goldstein as the quarterback.
As you see the ball at the 18-yard line, 2nd and 3 for the Orlando Renegades. You can see Collier having an excellent night on the ground this evening. Bledsoe had trouble hanging on to the football, but managed to do so, and then was hit by Keith Millard, the right defensive end for the Bulls.
Keith Millard is an all USFL, all league player all the way. He's missed 2 games this season because of a sprained knee ligaments. Here he just submarines. He beats Ed Moransky, number 72, the offensive left tackle for the Renegades, and makes the play in the backfield. Big play guy, leads tied for 2nd in the league in sacks with 4. Drafted number 1 by the Minnesota Vikings a year ago.
Passed up the NFL for the USFL. 3rd and 3 at the 18 of Jacksonville for Orlando. Collier. Looks like he's going to tuck it and go. Collier has the first down and more as he gets inside the 10-yard line. Mark Harper sprinting along with Collier, but Reggie looked like he had Broadway down the left side, picking up the first down and making it a goal and go for Orlando. So with the 2-minute break here, it's Jacksonville 14, Orlando 7. Long count by Collier. Bledsoe with the football to the 5, and Bledsoe fumbles the football. Indication from Jacksonville that they have it. Now the official indication. Fumble recovered by Jacksonville. Coming up with the football, Doug West, the former Bruin from UCLA. A big fumble there.
I think number 33, Vaughn Johnson, was the man responsible. He's caught going in the other direction. Curtis Bledsoe cuts back there, and Vaughn just knocks the ball out of his hand, strips it clean, causing the fumble. And Mr. West, Doug West, there to recover another tough break for the Orlando Renegades, who know all about tough breaks this season.
So the Jacksonville Bulls will now go on the offense with Ed Luther as their quarterback. Tonight, most of their offense has been Mike Rozier. And the aforementioned Rozier with a football banging into the official. The fans booing because the official impeded the progress of Mike Rozier. And getting wrapped was Richard Spencer.
Well, they've already penalized Orlando for having 12 men on the field. Here they got the assist from the ref this time. He's just got to get out of the way. I think he was caught frozen in his tracks. And listen, if you were the referee and saw this guy coming at you, a Heisman Trophy winner, I'd be frozen in my tracks too.
Well, one thing you have to say for Spencer, he didn't go for the juke given him by Rozier.
He must have watched the belt buckle. Rozier can't believe it. Rozier, I'm sure, was thinking in his mind, okay, ref, what are you going to do? You going to go right? You going to go left? Just get out of my way. Do anything but stand there.
Give him the fake, Mike. Give him the fake.
Almost a great pick on Lupe Sanchez there, too. Hey, the refs earn their pay.
6-yard gain. Let's mark it a 5-yard gain now. 2nd and 5 for Jacksonville from their own 12. Rozier stutter steps at the line, fumbles the football, rolling loose but recovered by Jacksonville. Alertly falling on the football to retain possession, Alton Alexis for the Jacksonville Bulls.
It's funny, we've hardly heard his name tonight. You know, last week he 8 catches for 123 yards, I think it was, and tonight he has been non-existent in the pass offense because Rozier has been doing so well behind the offensive line of the Bulls.
It'll be 3rd and 1. We're going to have a measurement here with 59 seconds to play in the half. Change will be stretched out. Let's see if it's going to be enough. Apparently so, by the nose of the football. First down for Jacksonville. Mike, we had rain here earlier in the day. This is a natural surface field. We had a lot of juggling of the football in the first half. You think the football is moist in any way, or is it just the hard hitting going on?
I was down there before the game, Fred. I think it's more the hard hitting going on. Perfect night. Couldn't ask for better.
All day long we heard the ominous prediction of 60-mile-an-hour winds, rain. But here it's a 1st and 10 for Jacksonville from their own 16 on a cloudy and fairly pleasant evening in Jacksonville. Rozier sprinting to the 20. Rozier flipped out by Lupe Sanchez after the first down.
Rozier looks like he's having a wonderful time this evening. Little handoff here, and again he'll bounce it outside past the block of number 76, Roy Simmons. And Lupe Sanchez fights off Rozier's forearm. But another first down for Jacksonville.
At the 28 of the Bulls, they lead 14-7. We have about 34 seconds to play in this first half at the Gator Bowl. Alexis to the near side left split, a slot to the left side, Kemp. See, they're going wide right. Luther to throw. Plenty of time. Downfield, picked off by Mike Guess. Guess still on his feet. Guess inside Jacksonville territory and is really hit as he crossed the 40-yard line by the Jacksonville Bulls.
Fred, I want to tell you that it was a terrific football play. Now, earlier this week, Mike Guess was demoted. They demoted him to nickelback because he was getting beat too much here. He'll make a terrific play, terrific interception. He had Perry Kemp one-on-one, leaps high for the ball, and then does a great job of returning the football as well. Mike Guess, last year, a second-team all-USFL performer, and he took quite a shot there from Gary Clark. I like the boogaloo, too.
Well, 22 seconds to go in the half, and again, Reggie Collier and the Orlando Renegades will have the football. They had a drive stymied by a fumble inside the 10-yard line moments ago. And now we'll see what Collier and the Gades can do for Lee Corso, and we're going to have a timeout call. This young man, Reggie Collier, has had a 180-degree change in his attitude with the Orlando Renegades. When we did the New Jersey General game in Orlando with the Renegades, Reggie Collier looked like Yogi Berra on the sideline. His baseball cap turned down in catcher fashion, really looked disinterested. All of a sudden, Reggie Collier has come around and now is the starting quarterback for Lee Corso.
Well, a lot of quarterbacks wear their hats funny, but it was no secret that he was in Lee Corso's doghouse. He might have been moping a little bit that Lee had decided to go with Jerry Goldstein, but Lee said from the start, I'm going to let Goldstein get his chance, and if it doesn't work out, then I'm going to bring in Reggie. And as you mentioned earlier, they are talking about, or at least Lee Corso is, as being the Orlando franchise.
As you see, the goose egg's on the clock, but it has to be reset. So the Orlando Renegades can have the opportunity with the football. I think it was, what, 22 seconds?
I think when Guess was knocked out of bounds, about 22-23, Fred.
Here are the stats on Collier tonight, and they're pretty impressive. He's passed 8 times, completed 6 of them for 68 yards, 1 interception. He's rushed 7 times, 55 yards, and he scored the lone Orlando touchdown.
And that's what I've liked best so far, his ability to run the football. He is so fluid, so smooth. And when it's used judiciously, it can give a defensive coordinator nightmares.
Reggie Collier,
what an athlete.
the first young man in NCAA football history while he played at Southern Mississippi to rush for more than 1,000 yards and pass for more than 1,000 yards in the same season. Was the 3rd pick overall in the first USFL draft. There's referee Tom White coming off the field. Now going back over the bench, and now we're getting the clock reset, and we're going to have a little bit of a delay here as they wind it down. Ed Luther, in his second start in the USFL since signing with the Jacksonville Bulls 2.5 weeks ago, has hit on 50% of his passes, 3 for 6, 19 yards through the air, 1 touchdown, that to Mike Rozier. He's been picked off once.
I'd imagine, I think once Coach Infante goes in at halftime, he's going to loosen things up a bit, especially if Orlando scores here. Last week, Ed was 25 for 45 and had 3 scores, which tied a club record. Ed's got a great gun. The only thing that's hurting him here is his lack of time with the system. A couple of the interceptions that he suffered last week were a result of that lack of knowledge.
Ed says he has to have, once in a while, he's got to stop and think what system he's playing under, whether it's the San Diego system or whether he's playing for Jacksonville. And he said once that becomes natural, it'll be so much easier for him.
Meanwhile, the man on the spot right now, Reggie Collier, he'd like to get the Renegades on the board with just 22 seconds remaining here in the first half.
1st and 10 for the Renegades from the 38 of Jacksonville. Collier heaving deep, incomplete, intended for Jackie Flowers along the near sideline. Flowers was covered, double teamed that time along this near sideline. Just a few ticks moved off the clock that time. 18 seconds to go in the first half. You can see those impressive stats for the quarterback, Collier. Ricky Klatt, the up back. Bledsoe, the deep back. Fake to Bledsoe. Collier looking cross field. He heaves it long. Incomplete, intended for Joey Walters. Tipped away by Don Vesselou at the last moment.
I'm not so sure that Reggie shouldn't have run that ball again. Again, there's only 18 seconds left in the clock. Reggie had a ton of real estate to work with, but this is a great indication of how strong Reggie's arm is. He rolls right and then throws it all the way back across the field. Now, Don Vesselou is there back to cover up for him.
Vesselou just gets the fingers on the ball to knock it away from the intended receiver, Joey Walters. 3rd and 10 for the Renegades, still at the 38-yard line of Jacksonville. Straight drop. Complete to Klatt.
Get out of bounds, Ricky.
Cannot do it. As he gets inside the 25-yard line, pulled down by the veteran Richard Wood, Batman for Jacksonville. We have 3 seconds to go, and here comes Jeff Brockhouse. Young man with lots of pressure riding on this field goal try. Snap is down, the kick is up, the kick is good. So Brockhouse may have saved his job with the Orlando Renegades by booting that field goal and pulling the Gades to within 4 points of the Jacksonville Bulls here at the half at the Gator Bowl. So the Jacksonville Bulls are getting a game from the Orlando Renegades. We're at the half at the Gator Bowl with Jacksonville leading Orlando 14-10. Collier with a 1st and 10 for Orlando from their own 20-yard line. Bledsoe gets the pick, follows the block of Klatt. Bledsoe still on his feet for the first down. Bledsoe to the 40-yard line, a gain of 20 yards. Van Jakes finally stopping Curtis Bledsoe.
Curtis got 2 key blocks there, one by his running back mate, number 35, Ricky Klatt, and number 63, Tom Dornbrook. The man they picked up, and then he does the rest on his own and gets another key block there from his wide receiver. A big game for the Renegades, and they're on the move again.
Klatt just re-signed, I should say, by Orlando this week to do exactly what he did on that play. Block for Curtis Bledsoe. Ball at the 40-yard line, first down for Orlando. Bledsoe again, Klatt in front. Klatt threw a block, but not taken out of the play was Harper, and finally Harper and Beeson stop Curtis Bledsoe again. The Orlando Renegades have a history of playing good football in the second half of their games, and if history repeats itself, this should go right down to the bitter end for Orlando and Jacksonville. 5-yard gain by Bledsoe puts it at the 45-yard line. Collier, who has done a good job directing the Renegades this evening in his first quarterbacking start for Orlando. 3rd straight carry for Bledsoe. This time, the problem was solved. The no gain, Doug West there, along with several other Bulls to stop Curtis Bledsoe.
Simply a case of not enough men at the point of attack. Bulls had them outmanned on that side, Doug West and number... Again, one of the key matchups you'll be watching here tonight, you've watched all night long, Ed Moransky versus Keith Millard, number 93. Just really forced Curtis to turn it inside. Although he didn't get the tackle, he was responsible for making that play.
So it's a 3rd and 5 for the Renegades from the 45. Again, a quarterback draw and a first down for Collier. Collier inside Jacksonville territory down at the 38. Don Vesselou there to watch Reggie Collier slide down. And Collier has been impressive on the run this evening.
Well, when you have 2 good outside ends like the Bulls do, this is a great play. Again, a planned quarterback draw. Everybody is flowing outside. Reggie Collier has all kinds of running room and picks up the first down again.
They mark the ball at the 39-yard line of Jacksonville. Collier has carried the ball 8 times, picking up 71 yards. He scored the lone touchdown for Orlando this evening. They trailed by 4. First down. Fake to Bledsoe. Collier rifles it. The pass complete to the tight end, Bob Nzolek. Nzolek, another first down for the Renegades. Beeson along with Harper stopping the tight end. But the Orlando Renegades are moving the football. They now have it at the 21 of Jacksonville.
One problem for the Jacksonville Bulls is you look at Lee Corsos. He's got his team in striking distance once again. Their linebacker play has not been good this season. It's been downright abysmal on occasion. They're good straight ahead, but now they've got two problems. Reggie Collier running and what to do with the pass receivers for Orlando.
Long count for Collier. Short drop, quick throw, pass complete to Walters. Walters hit immediately by Van Jakes. Walters was smothered, but a good pass and completion for the Renegades.
In lieu of audible, sometimes Orlando has built into their offensive game plan what they call sight adjustment. Here, Reggie Collier will just look at his wide receiver, Joey Walters. Walters will cut the pattern short, run a little out pattern, and it's good for a 6-yard gain. Nothing wrong with that.
Ball resting at the 13-yard line of Jacksonville, and just 2 yards to go for that first down. Good evening for Collier through the air. Bledsoe looking for the first down yardage. He has it. Inside the 10, down to the 6-yard line, and the Renegades have been inside that 10 of Jacksonville several times this evening, only to lose the ball.
Curtis Bledsoe's out to show that there's another great running back on this football field tonight, whose last name is not Mike Rozier. Again, if we can see it, number 35, Ricky Klatt throws a terrific block on Doug West, number 56, and then Curtis will do the rest. He's got that great spin move. He doesn't really let the tackler get into his thigh pads there. He's able to pull away at the last second, give him a soft leg kind of thing. Good for 54 yards tonight, many in key situations.
Power high behind Collier on the first and goal. Fake to Bledsoe. Collier rolling. Collier inside the flag. Collier touchdown, his second of the night. And a flag is down. Flag may be thrown against Keith Millard. After the touchdown, Millard came storming in.
Number 26, penalty being enforced on the kickoff.
Chester G. was charged with a penalty. And we watch Collier put on the happy feet.
Boy, he has given the Bulls fits tonight. Now watch this next move. He's going to fake the pass right here. Doug West doesn't have a chance. That's that linebacking play I was telling you about. Collier's in the end zone, and the Renegades are on top, 16-14. Here it is one more time. Again, the play action fake. He fakes to Bledsoe. He's going to do it all by himself. Boy, that's nice to watch.
Collier getting his second touchdown. Jeff Brockhouse, who has a 42-yard field goal to close out the first half, splits the uprights. And the Orlando Renegades are surprising a lot of folks here in Florida this evening. 9:31 to go in the third quarter. Orlando now leading this football game.
Last scoring drive was really a thing of beauty with Reggie Collier doing most of the work and in the air, and Curtis Bledsoe on the ground, 8 plays, 80 yards. Again, they chewed up a good bit of time on that clock.
Brockhouse kicks it high. The ball taken by Kemp. Kemp to about the 17-yard line. Tackled by Brian Musselman.
Look at Jacksonville's possessions tonight. Larry Swider has only had to punt once. 2 touchdowns. The second one, of course, a result of Don Veslu's interception. And then Ed Luther was intercepted in return by Mike Guess. That was a terrific play back in the first half, you might recall.
Luther on the night, 50% through the air, 3 of 6 attempts for 19 yards.
We're going to see him throw a lot more in the second half, I got a feeling, Fred.
Receiver wide right slot to the right side. Mike Rozier, the workhorse in the first half, scoring 2 touchdowns, moves the ball up over the 20 to the 23-yard line.
That should put him over the 100-yard mark for the first time this season.
David Graham, the 6'6", 255-pound veteran from Morehouse, making this stop.
one of the reasons why they've gone to Rozier so much this year. Look at Orlando against the run. Everybody gains 100 yards or so, it seems. Anderson, Herschel Walker, Buford Jordan, and now Mike Rozier, 103 for the night.
2nd and 4. Rozier trying to add to the total. He does a great spin and puts on the Jets, picks up the first down at the 30-yard line. Ron Freeman there to tackle him for Orlando. Orlando leading by 3, 17-14, 8 minutes to play in the third quarter here in the Gator Bowl in Jacksonville, Florida. Surprisingly, they're keeping the ball on the ground. But then again, as easily as teams have run on the Renegades, that's probably the smartest thing to do with this much time to play.
He'd be a fool not to.
Again, to Rozier. And again, Rozier picks up a healthy chunk of yardage. Val Brown to tackle.
Running the football like this, though, can be a double-edged sword sometimes. I mean, you can chew up huge amounts of quantity on the ground, but a key mistake, a fumble, an interception can all make it for naught. And what Orlando has done tonight is you watch Rozier work his magic through the Renegades defense. Watch John Gruber here. His work, Bob Gruber, rather, number 75. Nice bit of blocking up front.
Charging off, coming through is the veteran Joe Ehrman, a left defensive tackle. His birthday upcoming. He'll be 36 on the 29th of March. And Ehrman has been around the pro football wars, out of Syracuse with the Baltimore Colts, of course, the Detroit Lions.
Encroachment, number 74, defense, first down.
So the first down given to the Jacksonville Bulls. Saw Lee Corso talking to his quarterback, Reggie Collier. That ball marched up to the 41-yard line. Talking about Ehrman, the players at Orlando look to him as the old man. They have a nice easy chair for him in the corner of the locker room, and they allow him to take it easy. On the first down, the eye set up behind Luther. Rozier trying to get outside, not allowed to do so. Good tackle by Fred McAllister. Got him around the belt buckle and corkscrewed him down.
So again, Lindy Infante staying with Mike Rozier on the ground. 6:50 remains here in the third quarter, but the Bulls trail by 3.
There's Lindy in his second year, of course, with the expansion Jacksonville Bulls as their head coach.
Talking to Brian Sipe, of course, was the Bulls starter this year and separated his shoulder in the opening win against the Baltimore Stars.
2nd and 8. Rozier again. Stopped by Ed Jackson, the right linebacker for Orlando.
Orlando seems to be getting the hang of this time. Rozier really had no place to go, but he runs very well out of the I formation. He takes a little back pedal step, but he's got the speed to really accelerate. He tried to spin out of Jackson's arms right there, but just too many Renegades on the spot.
Ed Jackson played 2 seasons in the Canadian Football League for Toronto. 3rd and 7 for the Bulls, trailing in this football game, 17-14. We're in the third quarter, about 5.5 minutes to play in the quarter. Luther has the ball batted down. He cocked, and coming in, 2 of the Jacksonville Bulls. Ed Jackson was there.
67, Kenny Times also, who has the only sack this season for the Renegades this year. And I think what happened to improve the pass rush, they decided to blitz. They have not done so much that year. That was Jackson coming from the backside to force that errant pass that never got off.
Larry Swider, not with a very good average this evening, will be kicking to Victor Jackson of Orlando. Nice hanging kick this time. It hits and will be down at about the 2-yard line by Orlando. Coming down very quickly was Norris Brown to take it down at the 2-yard line. So with 5:33 to play in the third quarter, Orlando leads Jacksonville 17-14. Orlando will now have an opportunity to add to their lead.
almost a great play here by Norris Brown, and the fans from Jacksonville are booing, but the rule clearly states the ball cannot follow the man who tries to save it into the end zone. It's okay for Brown to go in, but the ball had to stay on the playing field.
So rather than have the ball at the 2-yard line, it will be at the 20-yard line for Orlando. 1st and 10 for the Renegades, who lead by 3 with 5:33 to play in the 3rd quarter. The effective combination of Platt, the up back, and Bledsoe, the deep back, stand behind Collier. He's got clearance down at the 24. Reggie Collier, Van Jakes there, the left corner for the Jacksonville Bulls. Reggie Collier reading the linebackers and the safeties very well tonight on those runs. As you can see,
8.4
that's not
yards.
bad. Might even make Doug Flutie a bit envious. Four-yard gain by Collier. 2nd and 6 from the 24. Bledsoe this time gaining about 2 to the 26-yard line. Curtis Anderson from Central State in Ohio making the stop for the Bulls.
Look at Lee Corso. The Renegades like to send in the plays from the sidelines with their tight end. That was Bob Zolik going in, number 89, who's caught a key reception tonight to part of one big scoring drive for the Renegades.
3rd down. 4 yards to go for the 1st down for Orlando from their own 26-yard line. Flowers will split to the near side right. Receiver wide left. Back split behind this man, Reggie Collier. On the 3rd and 4, Collier pumps, lofts the ball, intercepted. Veselu with his 2nd interception of the night, down to the 6-yard line and out of bounds. Don Veselu, interception number 3 for the season, number 2 for the night, kills the Orlando opportunity and puts the ball in fine position for Jacksonville.
The inconsistency we were talking about in Reggie Collier. Reggie probably should have taken the loss that time. The Bulls had an all-out blitz. You're going to see that Reggie was under extreme pressure. I don't know that he even saw Don Veselu, who was lurking back in the secondary. You see number 26, G, get after him. Reggie will step up into the pocket, but Doug West is right there, and number 65, Bob Nelson, to apply the pressure. Reggie had to do it all over again. I'm sure he would have eaten it.
So thanks to Don Veselu, first to go and goal to go for Jacksonville. Brown in motion to the right side. Rozier with the football. Rozier down to the 3-yard line. Maybe inside the 3 to the 2. Orlando tonight, 3 turnovers. Jacksonville has coughed it up 1 time. The ball at the 2-yard line. Goal to go for the Jacksonville Bulls, and Elbert Gray, the 5'10", 177-pound cornerback for the Orlando Renegades, flat on his back at that 2-yard line.
And Orlando can ill afford to lose him. Elbert Gray, a key member of that secondary.
Orlando leads Jacksonville 17-14. The Orlando lead is a bit precarious at the moment. It's 2nd and goal to go for Jacksonville at the 2-yard line. Thanks to this man, Don Veselu.
Make it 2, Veselu, and show us how it's done.
And he did. 2 interceptions for Don Veselu tonight. His 3rd on the season. 7-year pro from Georgia Tech.
And led the Bulls in interceptions a year ago.
So there's the situation. Mike Rozier this evening, both touchdowns for the Jacksonville Bulls. 1 on the ground, 1 a reception. He is going to be the deep back in the eye behind Luther. He's got the football, and Rozier has his 2nd touchdown on the ground, his 3rd of the night for Jacksonville. 20 20-17, the Jacksonville Bulls have taken the lead.
Well, I'm sure the Renegades knew it was coming. This time they run it off tackle behind the block of number 82, Mark Keel. He's nursing that bruised thigh tonight. No problems there. And before 58 can get to him, it's too late. Bernard West, the man on the stop for Rozier. 3 scores and over 100 yards tonight.
Quite an evening for the Heisman Trophy winner. Franco tacks on the 21st point, and we have 2:53 to play in the third quarter. They're dancing in the stands here at the Gator Bowl as their Bulls have taken the lead from the Orlando Renegades. It's Jacksonville 21, Orlando 17. No, folks, that is not Larry Zonka, the general manager of the Jacksonville Bulls, but that's the mascot of the Bulls. Zonka is a big man, but not quite that big.
And he's on the sideline tonight, and he ran just as hard as this Bull probably can. Zonka, of course, the general manager for the Jacksonville Bulls, an all-pro fullback. Who could forget, for the Miami Dolphins.
Reggie Collier with a 1st and 10 at the 40 of Jacksonville following his 20-yard scramble. Bledsoe escapes one tackler, gets back to the line of scrimmage. And now there's the real Larry Zonka.
Talked to him before the game. You know, he grew up real close to me in Stowe, Ohio. A terrific guy, terrific player. And now he's enjoying life on the other side of the fence, so to speak, as a general manager worrying about player salaries and paying them as opposed to...
I wonder if Zonk has anything to come back to those agents who say their players need more money. I wonder what he says to them, because I remember he got a few bucks in the NFL.
I asked him about
the WFL.
I asked him about that. All he said is he's finding it interesting. Here's that reverse.
And that's Jackie Flowers with the football. Flowers out of bounds across the field at the 36-yard line. Tom Dinkle trailing Jackie Flowers. They picked up some yardage, but not a big chunk at all.
Fakes the I-back Bledsoe, flips it to Jackie Flowers, who's got the speed, picks up a couple of blocks, but not enough before Tom Dinkle will knock him out of bounds. So they read that pretty well, all things considered.
4-yard gain for all the running Jackie Flowers did.
Look at the stats. It's been an Orlando game, and the passing yardage for Jacksonville really kind of surprising. They've had success with Rozier, but when you consider that Luther had almost 300 last week against the Invader, kind of surprising.
Collier on the 3rd and 6. Collier with a 1st down and more. Collier going to go in. Touchdown, Reggie Collier. Can you believe this? Rozier with 3 touchdowns for Jacksonville. Reggie Collier with 3 touchdown runs.
He was nearly trapped. This is a terrific bit of individual effort. Fred, he's nearly trapped in the backfield here. He decides to take it up, and he'll break another tackle right there, and he is off to the races. Here is just sheer speed. Actually, number 20, Rodney McMillan, the nickelback, had the angle on him, but Reggie is such, what you mentioned it earlier, 4-2 in the 40. What a difference he has made to this Renegade offense tonight.
Brockhouse will be trying to tack on point number 24 and improve the Orlando lead in this 4th quarter. Kick is up, and the kick is true. So we have 13:45 to play in this football game, and the Orlando Renegades lead the Jacksonville Bulls 24-21. And we have a surprise ongoing here tonight at the Gator Bowl. We're about ready to roll along in the 4th quarter with Orlando in the lead, kicking off. They lead by 24-21. Brockhouse kicks. Kemp takes it. Kemp to the 20. Kemp to the 30. Stopped at the 30-yard line. Brockhouse, the kicker, making the stop on Harry Kemp.
Reggie Collier's touchdown run moments ago put the Gades on top. Jacksonville was caught in a safety blitz. You saw number 46, Don Veselu, at the bottom of your screen there. Nobody there in the secondary to pick up Reggie, who turned on the afterburners and put the Renegades back on top after the extra point, 24-21. Collier now 138 yards rushing.
As you see, the Bulls have had a tough time playing before ESPN cameras.
We'll be lucky to get out of here alive, Fred.
Luther completes the pass.
First one of the night.
To Alton Alexis. Alexis, who had a good evening against Oakland with 8 receptions for 123 yards, picks up his initial catch tonight. Victor Jackson back there defending.
And Alexis leaving, dangling his right arm.
Right arm. A 9-yard gain. It'll be second down. And 1 for Jacksonville at their own 39-yard line.
Renegades secondary really hasn't been tested tonight with Rozier going so well, but now, of course, maybe not on this play, is 2nd and 1.
Here's Rozier, who has over 100 yards this evening. He's not going to get many this time. Wrapping him up, Lupe Sanchez, the ball rolling loose and out of bounds.
Oh, there's one of those gray hair plays. Luther again, the give is to Rozier, who's done a great job using that quick bounce-out move. But Renegades are right there to stop things up. Lupe Sanchez, number 21, the first one to get Mike Rozier, and I don't know if that really was a fumble there. It did manage to get Mike Rozier out of the football game as they're checking his arm.
Handoff coming up straight this time. And we should have the first down. Larry Mason picking up that necessary yardage for the first down for Jacksonville. David Graham making the stop. Well, Georgetown trailed at the half. Loyola looking for their 20th straight win. It wasn't to be in the NCAA play tonight.
Let me tell you, friends, few people thought it would be that close.
He's from
Sullivan
Chicago.
has had a terrific year for the Loyola Ramblers.
1st and 10 for Jacksonville. There's Luther with a strike. The pass complete. Still on his feet and moving along. Keel, the good tight end. Keel deep into Orlando territory at the 21. Jeff George finally making the stop. Keel with his 2nd long gain of the night on a pass from Luther.
And when you consider, Fred, that we didn't think that he'd start tonight with that thigh bruise, he really just kind of escapes in the play-action fake. Luther's looking for him all the way, finds him over the secondary, in between the linebackers and the safeties, and again, you see how powerful Mark Keel is as he gets the extra yardage.
Victor Jackson couldn't contain him. There's Keel. Very little gain as Marvin Lewis, the 3rd-year pro from Tulane, carried the football. Still no Mike Rozier in the backfield as we have Lewis and Larry Mason. Freeman hitting him for Orlando. Lewis from Tulane, 6'3", 225 pounds. A pick in the NFL by the football giants. He retired from the game in '83. And you see Mike Rozier still being looked after. It looked like an elbow, possibly a cut or a problem with Mike's left elbow.
First a sack.
The intended receiver you saw down. Luther calling for an interference call.
That was Perry Kemp, number 85, working against Mike Guest from Ohio State.
And there, Mike again being bandaged up. Looks like he has a, of course it's not, but with the pads that Mike wears, it looks like he has two casts, but he'll take it. His best game as a professional football player tonight.
All-around game. I think he had 130 against 137 against Denver last year.
Luther on the 3rd and 9 from the 20 of Orlando. Incomplete. There's the pass intended for Mark Keel. The pushing being done by Kelvin Atkins, and the flag was thrown.
I think Kelvin Atkins was crawling all over him. Check it out again. Kelvin Atkins, who lost his starting job to Ron Friedman, number 56, and comes in on special situations.
Officials conferring, and now we'll get the call.
Holding, number 55, defense, first down.
You could see Atkins did not agree with the call. So it'll be a first down for Jacksonville at the 15-yard line of Orlando. And Mike Rozier has made the return to the ball game for the Jacksonville Bulls. Jacksonville penalized just 3 times tonight for 35 yards in penalties. Orlando, 8 flags, 50 yards.
Add on the 2 interceptions, and it's really a wonder that Orlando's on top 24-21. But here their defense has really got to hustle if they're going to stop Jacksonville.
First and 10 for the Bulls from the 15. Rozier with the ball. Rozier bounces inside the 15 down to the 11-yard line. Lupe Sanchez, the former Bruin, to knock down Rozier, and the quick feet of Mike Rozier.
Boy, that instant burst of speed that turns what looks like to be a 2-yard gain into more. Not many running backs can do that, and that's the secret of the great ones. The ability to cut on a dime, and Sanchez saves it from being even more.
Second and 5 for Jacksonville at the Orlando 10. Luther will go with Rozier again. A little bit tougher once you get inside that 10-yard line. Fred McAllister all over Mike Rozier. McAllister last season with the Tampa Bay Bandits. Former Gator from Florida.
Freddie McAllister, and he's a good-sized middle linebacker at 6'6", 240. Renegades have done a fairly good job tonight on defense, but they haven't done it when it counted, and certainly now counts.
Ball at the 8-yard line of Orlando. You see they need the short yardage. Luther tries to get it with a pass, juggled, and not being held on to by Mike Rozier, and Michael is angry with himself.
Well, they caught a break there. That was the same play that Rozier caught for the first Jacksonville touchdown. Lindy Infante not too happy about it either.
So they will go for the field goal now as we see the replay, and
see what happens is the wide receivers and the tight end Markeel actually form sort of a pick, allowing picking off the linebackers. Rozier wide open.
Brian Franco will be trying a 24-yarder, and Franco is having an excellent season. He is true with the kick. So we have 8:45 to go in the ball game. It's all tied up, 24-24. Bit of a murmur in the stands here at the Gator Bowl, wondering whether Lindy Infante should have gone for the field goal or try for the 6 points, Mike.
Not with 8 minutes and 45 seconds on the clock, you don't. You got to tie the game first and worry about things later.
So we have 8:45 to play in this football game, all tied up, 24-24. Brian Franco to kick. The dangerous Parrish deep, but he won't get an opportunity to field the ball. Yes, he does. He picks it up. He came up to get it. Parrish up over the 20, and then he is hit at the 20-yard line, gang tackle, and a flag is down against Jacksonville. Parrish was just mauled there by the Bulls, and the flag was thrown. Holding will be the call, however, coming against Orlando.
Make that penalty number 9 against the Renegades tonight.
They'll see where the ball is placed down and what kind of field position Reggie Collier will have to work with. Goes at the 9-yard line.
Holding, number 62 on the return team. During the return, first down.
Bruce Byram being penalized. 8:33 to play in the football game. Jacksonville 24, Orlando 24. Renegades and Collier will have the football when we come back. Heisman Trophy winner Mike Rozier and his Jacksonville Bulls surprisingly tied here in the fourth quarter with 8:30 to play in the ball game. 24-24 with the Orlando Renegades, and the Bulls doctoring crew continuing to work on that elbow of Rozier. It's a first down, however, for the Renegades at their own 9-yard line following the penalty on the kickoff return. Reggie Collier has had an outstanding game at quarterback. Collier trying to run out of some trouble. He is grabbed around the shoelaces on a fine tackle by Doug West. West almost lost Collier, but then he reached out and grabbed the ankle and would not let Reggie go.
Well, I'm sure one thing Lindy preached to his Bulls at halftime, don't lose contain on this man. He's dangerous. That time, Vaughn Johnson inside, and great bit of individual effort here by Doug West, not quitting, and perhaps Reggie faking the throw, couldn't feel Doug's presence from behind him, but a super play there.
He gained 3 on that. 2nd and 7. The ball resting at the 12-yard line. Lindy and Fonte looking on, the coach of the Jacksonville Bulls. Eyes set up behind Collier, who wants to throw with the ball game tied. He's going to carry the mail himself. Collier sliding down, fumbles the football, recovered by Jacksonville. And it will be Jacksonville football. Van Jakes coming up with the fumble recovery. Another big break for the Jacksonville Bulls. We've had 2 interceptions by Bessalou, and now the Van Jakes fumble recovery.
Well, again, sometimes this is the perils of being a running quarterback. Reggie has a tendency to carry that ball like a loaf of bread. He got it knocked out from the side as he really was trying to tuck it away, but Van Jakes is right there to recover the fumble. And the Bulls are back in business again. They tied 24-20. 3rd key turnover made by Orlando tonight.
Van Jakes, the hero now from Kent State. Orlando with 7:13 remaining in this football game, and now we're going to have the red flag flown, meaning we're going to have the replay. And the man behind us here in the booth to our left is Bob Bauer, of 14 years of field judge in the National Football League, and Lee Corso apparently is called for the replay decision by Bob Bauer.
Well, the head coach may appeal 1 call per half. If the call is not in the coach's favor, a timeout is charged. If no timeouts remain, a 5-yard penalty is assessed. It refers to status of the ball and a few other things. It's a little too complicated to mention, but this obviously whether the play was a fumble or not.
And of course, that's the situation that they're going to discuss, whether Reggie Collier indeed fumbled the football. And we'll have the replay on our screen that Mr. Bob Bauer, representing the USFL, will see. Looks like Tom White coming back with the decision. So Bob Bauer.
The play stands as is. Orlando is charged a timeout.
So the coaches versus the USFL, I guess now 1 and 10. And there goes the ball. And there's the fumble recovery by Jakes.
I think it's a correct call by the officials. It squirted out before Reggie Collier hit the ground, but a good timeout taken by Lee Corso.
1st and 10 from the Orlando 18 for Jacksonville. Rozier spinning, still on his feet, and Rozier is playing some kind of football game this evening.
I'll tell you, when Mike Rozier was on the sidelines after he dropped what was surely a touchdown pass, as you see Kenny Times get into it.
With Kenny Howell. A little bit of kick in there, playing soccer with Howell's shin bone. Howell took exception to the way Times was doing some extracurricular work on the top of the pile with Rozier on the bottom.
That Renegade defense showing a little bit of their frustration. Lee Corso as well. Not happy with the turn of affairs here.
So the ball will be marked at the 13-yard line. No penalties assessed. There's Lee Corso. You can just see the nerves jangling down there. 2nd and 5 from the 13. Rozier will go for the 1st down inside the 10. Rozier to the 8-yard line. It's going to be close to as to whether or not Jacksonville picks up the 1st. McAllister and Freeman, the linebackers, combined for Orlando. And it is a 1st down for Jacksonville. Goal to go at the 7.
I would love to be an offensive lineman if I had the size with a back like Mike Rozier. He makes your job so easy because he can bounce it out so quick. He gets into that cushion, and then he'll find the seam. He'll cut it back outside or bounce it inside. And as I mentioned before, Rozier a little unhappy with himself that he dropped the touchdown pass, fighting for every yard he can get here.
Goal to go. Rozier charging touchdown.
far and away, Mike Rozier, the 1983 Heisman Trophy winner's finest game as a professional in the United States Football League. Again, the cutback, really a great piece of individual work. Rozier, his fourth touchdown of the game, but we have a flag on the play.
And the discussion going on. One official looked like he motioned with a kick or a hook. There's Mike Rozier, the star of the game for Jacksonville.
The score counts. After the play, personal foul, number 67 on the defense, and the player is ejected.
Kenny Times, who was involved in a bit of an altercation a couple plays ago, is kicked out of the ball game.
I'm sure the referee gave him a warning after the kick we saw, and that's all for Mr. Times.
I could just say time has run out.
And it is kind of rare that they eject a player from a game. Once again, the magic of Mike Rozier. This is why Jacksonville's in love with this man, hoping for a lot more of this as the season progresses. Terrific piece of work.
Brian Franco will exercise his soccer-style kick once again as he tries to put .31 on the scoreboard for Jacksonville. He's got it. 5 minutes and 48 seconds to go in the football game here at the Gator Bowl. The Jacksonville Bulls now out in front of the Orlando Renegades, 31-24. Well, a dream game for the Heisman Trophy winner from Nebraska, Mike Rozier, as he is leading almost single-handedly the Jacksonville Bulls over the Orlando Renegades, 31-24 here in the fourth quarter with about 6 minutes to go. Franco kicking off, and he lays the leather to the football. I think Franco would have had a three-pointer had that one been for a field goal try.
Don't they have something called a rouge in the Canadian
League, right?
Brian Franco, quite a year for this young man.
Considering he was cut last season by the Jacksonville Bulls, brought back, and now he's hot. And that's the way kickers are. They run in streaks. They can't miss, and then they can't buy a three-pointer. Now this has developed into a personal battle here tonight between Jacksonville's Mike Rozier and this man, number 10, Reggie Collier, who has 3 touchdowns on the ground for the Orlando Renegades in his first start. Complete to Nizolik, and then he is smashed. Nizolik was hit by Doug West, coughed up the football, but they may declare it an incompletion.
Nice piece of work by Reggie Collier on the play-action fake. We pick up the last part of this play. Nizolik there is creamed by Doug West, number 56. As I mentioned earlier in the game, that the linebacker play in recent weeks for Jacksonville has not been good, but in this second half, West in particular and also Terry Beeson have been playing like gangbusters.
West with a shoulder pad and helmet right where they were supposed to be. 2nd and 10 for the Renegades. At their own 20-yard line, they trail 31-24. Collier being chased. Incomplete. He threw it away. Around the ball was William Miller for the Jacksonville Bulls. And again, Doug West, a key man on that play.
Took some mean pills at halftime or something. He is all over the field. Chased down Reggie once. Forced the fumble or that hit on Bob Niziolek just a second ago, and there forces Reggie Collier to throw an errant pass.
Doug West played on that 1984 UCLA Rose Bowl championship team. Began in UCLA as a strong safety and then moved to linebacker as he bulked up a bit. He's 6'3", 260 pounds. Well, 3rd and 10 for the Renegades, still at their 20-yard line. 5:32 to play. Again, the whistles. Collier may have taken too much time. As you see, Reggie engaged in a bit of conversation with referee Tom White.
Delay game, number 11,
least the third delay of game charged against Collier this evening. So it'll be third down, but again, 15.
We mentioned what a difference Reggie has made to the Orlando offense. Nearly 2/3 of the 344 yards on the board tonight for Orlando belong to Reggie.
Well, you talk about key third downs. This is it. 3rd and 15 with 5:32 to play. They'll go from the shotgun. Orlando trailing 31-24. Collier with the ball. Collier pressured. Bounces away. Throws downfield. The pass complete. Miller with the football, but shy of the first down by a good 6 yards. Richard Wood came over to stop William Miller. Wood, who of course played in the National Football League for the Tampa Bay Bucks.
This time the Jacksonville secondary did a great job of bottling up the Renegade wide receivers. Not too many places to go here. Again, there's Bob Nelson applying some pressure, along with Curtis Anderson, number 90. He takes a beating. 5 minutes to go still in this game, so Corso electing to punt with Greg Cater.
Cater hangs it high. Kemp will call for the fair catch, and he makes it, just grasping it with his fingertips at the 37-yard line. 4:42 to play in the football game here at the Gator Bowl. Jacksonville leading Orlando 31-24. 31-24, Jacksonville leading Orlando here in the Gator Bowl. More than 31,000 on hand. The Bulls obtained the football via this punt. And you see Mr. Kemp making the fair catch request. Lupe Sanchez barely allowing the fair catch.
And Perry almost ran into Don Veselu and a little bit of Alphonse and Gaston.
So Luther and the Bulls and Rozier have less than 4 minutes and 40 seconds to kill before they pick up their second win of the season and end a 3-game slide. And the Renegades try to get the football back to prevent their 5th loss of the season without a win.
I mean, there's no way.
Rozier will get the football. Maybe a couple of yards. Victor Jackson making the stop for the Orlando Renegades on Mike Rozier. 3:48 to go in the contest. Jacksonville with the football and the lead. Mike Rozier with something he's had a lot tonight. Yards gained off the left side to the 46.
What is really amazing about Mike Rozier's play tonight, he's got over 150 yards rushing. All of the plays have been up the middle or off tackle, and it's because they run out of that I formation. They screen blockers up there for him, and then a terrific bit of individual effort. That's what he's just really kind of astounding tonight, because I haven't seen him play this good all season long.
Actually, this is his first really good game in 2 seasons.
Probably since he's been at Nebraska.
3rd and 2. The Bulls want to hang on to the football, so they give it to Rozier. He does. He gets the first down for them and more. Into Orlando territory at the 46.
One of the unsung members of that front wall for the Jacksonville Bulls, number 75, Bob Groover out of Pittsburgh, 6'5", 275. He does a great piece of work there, allowing Mike Rozier to spring behind him.
Played in all 18 games last season for the Jacksonville Bulls. He retired from football for a while after a couple of go-rounds in the National Football League.
Offensive line, one of Lindy Infante's strong suits, Jacksonville.
I'll tell you, no matter the outcome tonight, the Jacksonville Bulls have received an unexpectedly hard football game from Orlando. 2:13 to go. Rozier with the football, and Michael with big chunk of yardage as he brings it inside the 35 to the 34-yard line. And the Renegades trying everything they can to pop that ball loose and take it away from Rozier. Sanchez and Jackson, the safeties, stopping Mike Rozier.
Mike Rozier now approaching a high high against the Renegades. Buford Jordan from Portland had 175 last week. Mike Rozier with 4 Renegades all over him, getting very close to that mark, Fred.
We're at the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes to go in the football game. Jacksonville leading Orlando 31-24. Of the big man tonight for the Jacksonville Bulls. You see it. There's the evidence in front of you. Mike Rozier, best game as a professional football player, recalling the days with the Huskers at Nebraska. Michael, I noticed, doesn't wear his little diamond stud in his ear playing the football game. First and 10 for the Jacksonville Bulls with under 2 minutes to play in the football game. Fumble recovered by Orlando. The Renegades come up with the football. Lupe Sanchez falling on the fumble. And we watch the replay.
Fumble recovered by Sanchez.
Ed Luther basically missed the handoff here to number 32,
Mason.
Larry Mason from Troy State. We saw somewhat of a exchange mishap early in the first half between Luther and Mike Rozier. That time Larry Mason never really had a chance to get that football, so a break for Orlando. Lee Corso must be pinching himself. They still have to score.
And of course the Renegades trying to extend this thing. Quarterback Collier over the middle with a strike into Jacksonville territory for the first down. The Renegades, with their 2-minute drill underway, Reggie Collier trying to get everybody set up. 1:50 to go in the ball game. The clock starting again. Collier with the first down at the 47 of Jacksonville. It's Miller. Miller with some running room down the sideline for the first down, out of bounds at the 29-yard line of the Bulls. Chester Gee hitting him out there. But all of a sudden, the complexion changes. It looked like a very relaxed Jacksonville team along the sidelines. They had the victory in their pocket, and now Orlando is back.
And you know what I hate? I think a lot of fans hate this too, this so-called prevent defense. Now, they've been doing a great job of stopping Reggie Collier throwing the ball when it counted. Now they give him all this room. I know that it's designed that way, but all of a sudden Orlando's got the ball inside the Jacksonville 30.
And Collier gets the shotgun snap. Reggie is hit as he throws, and a flag is down. Making the hit, Keith Millard, but the flag was thrown. And it's probably going to be a hold against
Ed Moransky, number 72. Reggie Collier is still down.
And Collier gets up limping. We noticed Jerry Goldstein warming up at the 2-minute break, but Goldstein has tendonitis in his right arm, and every time...
Holding, 72, offense, first down.
And you called it Moransky with the hold.
Tough job for Ed Moransky. Here he comes into camp just this week. Hasn't played football for a while, and he goes against one of the finest defensive linemen in the USFL, and Keith Millard, number 93. It's been a matter. Millard has been in Moransky's face all night long. There's Ed jumping too soon again. He is gunshot.
Stats for Collier on the night: 24 passes, 13 completions, 165 yards, 2 interceptions for Collier. Bessalou picking both off, number 46 for Jacksonville. Don Bessalou in the background.
72, offense.
So Moransky, 2 straight penalties against the newly acquired offensive tackle.
Sometime an offensive tackle will take that false step backward just to get sort of an edge on the pass rusher. That time he stepped too quickly, and another 5 yards. So
first and 25 now. You see the clock. The ball at the 43 of Jacksonville. Collier off the hands of the intended receiver. No interception. Diving was Van Jakes. Don Eccles had it skip off his hands. Jakes went forward diving for the football, but apparently it hit the grass before Jakes could come up with it.
Reggie Collier out of the shotgun formation again. A heavy rush from the outside by Keith Millard, also Curtis Anderson, number 90. Eccles should have had that ball right there. They're lucky the outcome wasn't much worse. Jakes almost did have it, Fred.
He sandwiched it between the grass and his belly. 2nd and 25. Still at that 43. Collier wants to go himself. Nowhere. He is hit by Vaughn Johnson. Johnson stuck the helmet right there and stopped Reggie.
I'll tell you, these Jacksonville Bull linebackers have had themselves quite a second half. We mentioned Doug West, number 56, earlier. Watch Vaughn Johnson, number 33, here on this play. Collier decides to take it on his own, but Johnson right there. Nizelak, the tight end, missed the block, and Johnson puts him away.
And we have a timeout on the call. 1:17 to play in the football game. Jacksonville leading Orlando 31-24. The nervous anticipation of Orlando Renegade head coach Lee Corso. His team trailing, as you see. They have the football 3rd and 24 from the Jacksonville 42. 1:17 to play in the football game. Reggie Collier gets the snap on the 3rd and long. Collier rifles it downfield, complete. Pushed out of bounds was Jackie Flowers. Going to be shy of the first down. They had to get to the 18-yard line. That's marked at the 22.
Fred, that was a great football play. You saw Lee Corso wink and give Reggie Collier the thumbs up play as he sends Reggie Eccles, the tight end, in with this 4th down play. They picked up a lot of that first down yardage that they needed.
It's going to be a 4th down, however.
4th and 5.
This is the ball game right now for Orlando. Collier's going to take it himself. Reggie with a first down out of bounds to stop the clock. I guess it's only fitting that Reggie Collier, who has been the attack for the Orlando Renegades, comes up with a big 4th down, first down.
Again, the sprint rollout, nothing fancy about this. I think Reggie knew all along that I'm going to take it by myself.
I'm sure for Reggie, shades of the days at Southern Miss. Lee Corso looks up at the scoreboard. His team trailing 31-24. We have 1 minute and 5 seconds to play. The ball at the 15-yard line of Jacksonville. Lindy Infante with the anticipation now. Collier to chuck it. Incomplete. Intended for the diving tight end, Bob Nizolik.
Van Jakes, number 22, on the coverage that time.
Reggie Collier getting a word from his veteran wide receiver Joey Walters there, number 17. Exactly 1 minute. Tight end Eccles coming in along with William Miller for the Renegades. We mentioned throughout the game the head coach Lee Corso sends his plays to Collier via the tight end. Zolik and Klatt coming out. 2nd and 10 at the 15. Collier on the ramble. Collier touchdown. Reggie Collier took it himself, and we have a 1-point margin now for Jacksonville with 55 seconds to play.
And what a duel. 4 touchdowns for Mike Rozier, 4 touchdowns for Reggie Collier. I can't really understand what Jacksonville's got to be thinking about on defense. Collier has burned these guys time after time tonight on this little quarterback draw. Reggie's got far too much speed. Again, the secondary is empty there. Don Besselou there too late. 18 carries, 69 yards tonight, 4 touchdowns for Reggie Collier.
Jeff Brockhouse attempting to tie it up here. And the sigh of relief goes up from the far side, the Orlando side. We have a tie football game. 55 seconds remaining. Jacksonville 31, Orlando 31. Well, Jeff Jeff Brockhouse tied the football game with the single, the point after kick, but a lot of buzzing in the stands wondering why this man, Lee Corso, didn't direct his offense to go for the 2 that you can go for in the United States Football League, Mike.
You know, Lee is still a little bit new to this league, and I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't know about the rule, because there was a couple of questions he asked us today.
But then again, when your team is winless, a tie is not like kissing your sister. It's a moral victory.
I kind of agree with it.
Brockhouse kicks, coming up with a football. Jacksonville out and out of bounds for the Jacksonville Bulls. Gary Clark. So the Bulls will have 47 seconds to work with in regulation time. The ball is at their own 25-yard line. Now we'll see whether the Bulls will have any quick strike capability or whether they're going to just sit on it and go into the OT.
Interesting. I'm probably sure that Lee knew about the 2-point conversion, and if you got the overtime, you're going to go for.
I'm sure. But like I said, I think he's looking for the fact that they're tied with Jacksonville, and having not won a football game, it's a very important factor. 1st and 10. Luther clears it out to Rozier, who's been their man this evening, and Rozier is out of bounds after being hit by Ed Jackson.
About the only thing that can take Rozier down tonight, the wet platforms on the sideline there that our camera crew uses. Well, we all know what a master Dan Fouts was as a San Diego Charger. Luther, I'm sure, learned much under that apprenticeship. Corso's got to be happy about the way this team has fought back tonight, though.
2nd and 9. Rozier, the handoff. Mike stopped shy of the 30-yard line by Lupe Sanchez. Flags all over the place down on the field. In Portland Saturday night, the Orlando Renegades had an opportunity to win the football game. They lost it.
12 men on the field. Defense. Still 2nd down.
There's another
rule that makes a little fuzzy on it. It's not the Canadian Football League. You cannot have 12 men on the field league.
But as I was saying about the Portland game, in the second half, Lee Corso said that his team came together in that second half. And a lot of times you hear a coach say that and you say, more propaganda. But the way they played tonight against Jacksonville, he had his finger on the pulse of his football team. 38 seconds to go, 2nd and 4. Luther wants to put it in the air. Luther down the middle, complete at the 39-yard line. The reception made by Alton Alexis. Now you got to remember, Brian Franco, the field goal kicker for Jacksonville. Are they ruling an incompletion? Go watch this over again. Well,
another angle. Now this might be a time when you see Alton Alexis get decked by Mike Guess.
Well, they rule the incompleted pass, and Lindy Infante elects not to appeal at the 30-yard line. 3rd and 4 with 30 seconds to play. Rozier with a football. Rozier charging to that 1st down yardage, and he has it. 24 seconds remaining in the football game. The clock is frozen there. The chains will be moved up. 1st down for Jacksonville. Tie ball game, 31-31. Ticks left on the clock. The ball at the 14-yard line.
Hard to believe that this can happen in this game situation. situation with 14 seconds. Luther just airs this ball out, and Alton Alexis slips by Mike Guest, but that wasn't the... he was just a safety covering up. We'll see if we can see it again. Who was the other man on the play? Number 45, Daryl Toussaint. We have not seen too much of him tonight. He's actually the nickelback. He had the initial coverage on Alexis. He just got by Daryl Toussaint.
And here comes Brian Franco. Franco, this season has been red hot for Lindy Infanti's Jacksonville Bulls. And this ball will be a try of 31, let's call it 32 yards for Brian Franco. We check the flag to our right, the way that Franco will be kicking, and it appears that it's blowing from Franco's left to right. He'll be kicking out of the hold of Swider. Franco, the fourth-year pro from Penn State, will have to think about it for a while.
Fred, I'm still shocked that I'm sure all Luther had in mind was the old Hail Mary pass, and never believed Alton Alexis would be so wide open.
There's Lindy Infanti, other Jacksonville coaches. There's backup quarterback Robbie Mahfouz, and Orlando takes the timeout. They want Brian Franco to have a chance to pace up and down, think about that, picture those uprights in his mind. And we have quite a football ending here. Lee Corso worn out that sideline tonight with his pacing up and down, wondering how in the world Alexis was allowed to be free and how Luther got the football to him behind Guest and Toussaint. 14 seconds remaining here at the Gator Bowl. More than 31,000 came here for the football game, despite terrible weather forecast. Franco has not missed on the PAT or the field goal tries this evening. Kicked 5 field goals earlier in the year against Baltimore. The snap is down. The kick is squibbed. No good. So Brian Franco, who has come through all season long for the Jacksonville Bulls, fails as we approach a look at overtime for the first time for Jacksonville this year. Oh, he knew it. You can imagine what words are going through his mind.
And for him, that was a chip shot, Fred,
yes.
But somehow, some way, and God, it's going to be a tough on both coaches. I suspect there's some kind of poetic justice in there. Franco should have missed the field goal, and Daryl Toussaint shouldn't have let Alton Alexis that open in the secondary.
Lindy Infanti.
That's why these guys earn their money.
Expressing the disappointment and displeasure with that missed field goal. 11 seconds remaining in regulation play. And all Reggie Collier and the Orlando Renegades want to do is let the clock wind down. Well, tonight's game will be the second in Bulls history. And we were going to go to the overtime stanza here at the Gator Bowl with the score tied, surprisingly, 21-21 between Orlando and Jacksonville, Mike.
See Reggie Collier walking off the field. I know he didn't deserve to lose it in that fashion after directing his team to 4 scores.
Okay, we're tied 31-31. There you see it, the first overtime game here at the Gator Bowl, the second in the franchise history of the Jacksonville Bulls. They are 1-0 so far in OT play. And the first overtime game, of course, for Orlando. Brian Franco, the man who could have won the ball game and broken the ESPN jinx early for the Jacksonville Bulls, missed the field goal with seconds remaining. He'll be preparing to do his service once again, this time kicking the football.
I wish you'd be quiet about that, Fred. I've seen a couple of fans look up here with angry scowls.
As long as they're only scowls and not
in lynch
22s
mob frenzy.
The back of Lindy Infante. Still shaking and still wondering how in the world he's gone to overtime. Of course, Lee Corso and the Renegades have to receive the boost from tonight's play. They came in 0-4 and have not looked very much like a good professional football team. But tonight they've put on a pretty good show against the team that, you probably have a payroll on Jacksonville that may be double or even triple that of the Orlando Renegades.
And the Renegades are essentially an expansion team. They didn't merge with anybody, although they're really the old Washington Federals. You look at the other great performer in this game, Mike Rozier. His best night as a pro, 182 yards.
So Franco will kick, and he takes out his frustration kicking the ball deep. Jerry Parrish just watched it sail. And it'll come out to the 20-yard line, and so Mr. Reggie Collier will have the opportunity to get this Orlando Renegade team their first victory of the '85 season and their first victory as the Orlando franchise in the USFL.
The 31 points the Renegades have scored tonight, Fred, more than they scored in the first 3 games against Tampa Bay, New Jersey, and Birmingham. So you got to be happy about the offensive output tonight and the way Reggie Collier has sparked his club.
Collier, who's been running and passing for Corso's Renegades, as Klatt along with Bledsoe stacked in the eye. Bledsoe, the deep back, gets it to the 21. Tackled there by Bob Nelson, the nose tackle.
How many times have we called his name tonight? He is doing a yeoman's job inside, and he is fired up. Let's get going. He's exhorting his teammates.
Of course, whether you want to call it sudden death or sudden victory, that's what we have. Overtime in Jacksonville. The heroes, Rozier for Jacksonville, Collier for Orlando, and there's Reggie crouching down behind center Mark Fisher. Bledsoe still running, first down. Bledsoe to the 31-yard line.
And if there was another guy you'd want to single out as a hero in this ball game, it has to be Curtis Bledsoe. Now, he doesn't have the flashy stats that Mike Rozier has, but he has been tough. Little counterplay back goes in the other direction, and a lot of the yardage that Curtis has picked up tonight has been all second effort.
Don Besselou finally stopping Curtis Bledsoe. Besselou, a fine game tonight for Jacksonville. 2 interceptions, one of them setting up a touchdown. 1st and 10 for Orlando from that Jacksonville, from their own 31. Bledsoe again. Bledsoe with a gain of maybe 3, possibly 4 yards. Vaughn Johnson, linebacker, there to wrap him up.
Been a lot of new changes in Orlando's lineup tonight and all season long. One of the key people there, Ricky Klatt. We haven't mentioned him, but you see him in the picture right there, number 35. He has been the lead blocker for Curtis tonight, has done a great job.
As we mentioned earlier in the ballgame, that was the combination for the Washington Federals last year. Ricky Klatt providing the blocking. Curtis Bledsoe rushing for over 1,000 yards last season. Klatt just activated by the Renegades this week. 3-yard gain by Bledsoe. So Collier will throw on the 2nd down. Collier is wrapped up and dropped by Millard, and there's a flag down. Another holding call upcoming against Orlando.
Against number 72, Ed Moransky. Now, if you're going to hold a guy, hold a guy. Don't let him kill your quarterback at the same time. Millard has just been too much.
Holding, 72, offense, penalty decline, 3rd down.
How much fatigue now will play a part in Moransky's mental blunders and physical blunders?
Well, at this point in the game, it's just, anything goes. Just you got to fight for everything you're worth. And my advice to Ed is just tackle Keith. Get the penalty, but don't let your quarterback get killed. He's got you this far in this ball game.
Moransky signed just a couple of days ago by the Orlando Renegades.
Defense. He's also replacing Orlando's best offensive lineman, Jerry Derger, who has broken his ankle.
3rd and 16. That's William Miller. Miller will not have the first down. Curtis Anderson stopping Miller at the 31-yard line. Punting situation. Greg Cater will come on. Lone safety going back for the Bulls is Perry Kemp. Cater will be kicking into a breeze that's kind of swirling around this Bulls stadium. Hangs it high. This one will have great hang time for Cater. Backing up is Kemp. Taking it at the 24 to the 25. Kemp still on his feet, now tumbled down at the 32-yard line of the Jacksonville Bulls. And Jacksonville now will have the opportunity to see if they can run their record in overtime play to 2-0 in their franchise history. Ed Luther, his second USFL start after 5 seasons with San Diego in the NFL, signing a big contract to play football here, replacing Brian Sipe, who was injured, unfortunately, with the shoulder injury in the first game of the season. 1st and 10 for Jacksonville from their own 32. Mike Rozier, who was called on so many times this evening and who has answered that call in a tremendous manner, up over the 35 to the 36-yard line.
It's the same play, but Rozier makes it look so different each and every time. And what running backs like is to get the ball. You know, people might be asking, is he getting tired? He's got close to 30 carries, but when you keep calling that number all the time, you get on a roll and you start feeling good, and a surge of momentum goes through your body. It's only after the game that you really feel it.
Rozier gained 4. Ball at the 36. Again, the former Heisman Trophy winner brings it to the 41-yard line.
They've been running left side a lot tonight.
McAllister and Jackson making the stop for the Orlando Renegades. You know, it's amazing to think that the teams here, Orlando played Saturday night in Portland, flew all night, got back early morning Sunday. The coaches went right to work on the game plan, the game films. The Jacksonville Bulls played out west in Oakland Sunday. They flew back Monday, and they've only had a couple of days to prepare for this football game. And most importantly, heal those bumps and bruises. Now the handoff, and we'll see if we get the necessary yardage for that first down. Mike Rozier springing up, as you talked about, that burst of adrenaline. And the ball is marked down, and Mike Rozier has the first down for the Jacksonville Bulls.
I'm hot, baby. Give me the football. I'll take care of the rest. I got you 4 tonight anyway. I'll get you the 5th. Or get you in position.
Alexis going wide to the far side right. Kemp to the near side. Also splitting out is Marvin Lewis. Rozier gets the handoff. Rozier heading to that 50-yard line, but he stopped shy.
Offensive linemen don't get called too often, except when they're being penalized, but not Bob Gruber, number 75, and Kenny Howell, the left guard. They have been moving out Renegades all night long, clearing the way for Mike Rozier's big night.
Rozier was halted at the 48 of Jacksonville, 2nd and 6, 31-31 deadlock in overtime at the Gator Bowl. Jacksonville with the football. You see the clock. Again, Rozier spins to the 49. Not wanting Mike Rozier to get away. 2 of the Orlando Renegades combined on the tackle. Lead tackler was Ron Freeman. So the Jacksonville Bulls will have it 3rd and 5 at the 49.
Joe Ehrman, number 74, coming into the game for the Renegades, along with Charlie Riggins, number 99.
Luther flares it out to Rozier on the 3rd down, and it depends on where the mark is as to whether Rozier has the first down. You can see Lee Corso pointing, helping out the officials. He went out before he got the first down. Look at Lee. Lee doing all the pleading he knows how right now.
Pushing Victor Jackson. He said, stay out of this. I'll take care of this.
From the look on Lee's face, I don't know if he's going to get the call he wants. Oh.
They hit out of bounds on the defense.
Oh, boy, that hurts. You heard personal foul, unnecessary roughness, and we'll watch it to see if we can pick it up.
It's a pass that Luther's had success with all night. Hit Rozier coming out of the backfield, picked the linebacker and free safety off. I don't know if he got the first down either, but then the personal foul might have been assessed to Victor Jackson, number 30, or 20 rather.
Right. So the ball, instead of being shy of the first down, is now at the 31-yard line of Orlando. First down for Jacksonville. You saw Brian Franco, the man who missed the opportunity to wrap it up in regulation play. This time Mason with the carry. And Larry brings it inside the 30 to the 29-yard line of Orlando. 7:21. Clock rolling down in overtime. Rozier and Collier, the two stories tonight. Rozier, a tremendous game for the Jacksonville Bulls. Reggie Collier, an outstanding first start for the Orlando Renegades. Ed Luther, just his second start, gives it off to Rozier. Mike, tough running, gets it to the 27-yard line.
And I imagine both Rozier and Collier, who should be candidates for USFL Player of the Week based on their performances tonight.
Of course, we're starting the 5th week here on Thursday. There's Mike Rozier. Now it looks like maybe he is winding down a little bit. That adrenaline might not be pumping.
He still wants the ball. Reggie Collier hoping to get another chance.
3rd and 5 from the 26. Luther to put it in the air. Has the first down. Alexis, the man who made the key reception in the closing moments of regulation play, picks up the first down for Jacksonville.
You know, one thing we didn't mention, and it happened earlier in the game, number 22, the right cornerback for Orlando, Albert Gray, he's been out of the game since that time. Darrell Toussaint, number 45, has been in his place. He had Gary Clark that time. That was Mike Guess's man. But Toussaint was the man who was beaten by Alexis the first time to set up a chance for Franco to win it in regulation. And the loss of Gray has really hurt because he is by far and away their best cover person. So here comes Mr. Franco again with a chance to redeem himself.
Now Brian Franco again with the weight of the victory on his shoulder here. 5:46 to play in the overtime. Brian Franco, who really missed badly with the closing seconds in regulation play, will have the opportunity here. The ball will be placed at the 19-yard line, making it a 29-yard try for Brian Franco. Lee Corso of the Orlando Renegades using up all of that sideline as he tries to impart some knowledge to his defensive squad.
Now they can't call timeout because they don't have any, do they?
I think that's what Lee wants to try. But look at Corso. Now you're going to get all kinds of hands on that white team, waving, jumping. The snap is down, the kick is up, the kick is high, and this football game is over. Brian Franco redeems himself. Lee Corso is livid.
He called timeout.
Lee Corso is livid. Look at Lee sprinting across the field as he is going after the official. Corso was over there signaling for a timeout. Lee Corso, livid, as he talks to the officiating crew, getting turn downs and refusals from the officials. And Corso, with the dejection of knowing his team is 0-5, that explains the whole game for Lee Corso. 34-31 the final. Brian Franco connecting on the field goal. The two friends, Lindy and Fonte, and Lee Corso embracing, commiserating, but the game is over in overtime. Jacksonville 34, Orlando 31.